from a center position, I think we talked about, we didn't talk really about from a prediction perspective or in depth about that. I think from what Riley said yesterday, there's four guys that he would anticipate being, guys that are battling for that starting position. Obviously you have Andrew Raymond, Chris Murray, who spent a bulk of the time in the spring. Ian MacGyver is a kid that was a backup to Creed Humphrey. Robert Conjul's a new guy that came in. So those four guys will probably be in the mix. I think legitimately you got two guys. You got Andrew Raymond, you got Chris Murray. I think that in each one of them has certain skill sets that they've kind of brought to the table in the spring, and I think it'll be interesting to see which one sets themselves apart. For Chris Murray, I think the physical side of it, he's there. He's got the strength from the point of attack. I think what he was struggling with a little bit in the spring this past season was picking up the mental side of it, doing everything that Coach Beedenbow asks them to do in terms of, picking up blitzes, calling out, and just being the leader of that offensive line. So then when you look at Andrew Raym, it was sort of the opposite for him. He's very intelligent just in terms of being able to understand exactly what they're trying to do, where the coverage is at, where they're being blitzed at, if they need to, to shift the protection to one side or the other, who's picking up who. I mean, he's good there. I think where he needed to get better in the summer was from a strength perspective. I've heard some good things about Raym in terms of what he did in the weight room over the summer. So if I'm sitting here on August 6th, projecting who's going to start at center on September 4th. I think Raym will probably be the guy that ends up getting the nod, but I think it'll still be a healthy competition throughout the bulk of fall camp. I mean, I think in a perfect world, you'd like to be solidified and with that guy a couple weeks in the camp. That way, he can get more and more of those first team reps. But I think it'll be a competition at least for the first couple of weeks.
Mike, I love your dream scenario there, and I'm actually going to add to it a little bit. So, and maybe this is what you had in mind. Mike says, Sooners dream year, win the Natty, carry that trophy to the SEC, start the SEC schedule next season. As Jason and I have discussed, technically right now from a legal standpoint, OU and Texas tied to the Big 12 until the 25-26 sports calendar year. But of course, that is not going to be a good situation for anybody involved. So we would expect that to be moved up considerably, whether it's moved up all the way to 22. But I will add win the Natty and beat an SEC team in the national championship game. And you may have to beat two of them on the way to the national. That's possible. It's not probable, but it's possible.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think Mike's completely right. I think that's the dream season that Oklahoma fans would love to see, right? I mean, you do that, and then you kind of carry that momentum into the schedule next year, if it happens next year. I think 2023 at the latest, and possibly next year. But yeah, I think that would be, I mean, obviously a great story coming into the SEC if that were to happen, for sure.
Yeah, the players and the coaches, they want to win the Big 12 championship, then win the national championship, regardless of who they have to play. That's there. And some of them will be honest at times, not talking about this particular team or coaching staff, but sometimes athletes and coaches, most of the time will just give you the flat out, we just want to win the championship. We don't care who we play. Sometimes something will come out once in a while. You'll hear from somebody in some particular sport and they'll admit, yeah, we really wanted to see them.
Yeah.
In this situation, again, I can't speak for any of the Oklahoma players or Lincoln Riley, but in terms of what Jason and I do in regards to writing articles and talking about this, it would be funny. And I've got no stake in the game. I really don't care. I just want to see good football. It would be funny to see Oklahoma beat an SEC championship, an SEC team to win the national championship. And then if their entry into the SEC, especially if they were able to play an SEC schedule next season, because then all this talk from the SEC fans, which I'm not completely discounting it. It's just, it would be a funny scenario because all of this about you're going to come to the SEC and be 8-4 would pretty much silence most of that, at least.
Oh yeah, it really would. It would be such an intriguing storyline going into the season for sure.